Hello everyone and welcome to Australia for the season opener here in GP Manager, and we're starting with the GPM2 race, and on pole position for Adidas AMG Racing it is Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Alongside him on the front row another superstar driver in Max Verstappen, with Fernando Alonso lining up in third position for Monster Energy Ford. Fourth position goes to the Canadian racing driver of Mitch Evans in what is the closest he gets to a home race there for the New Zealander. Behind him on the grid we see Jack Aitken for Muscle Moose Racing, and then Gabriel Bortoleto lining up just behind him for Gokai Twin Blade. On row number 4, we've got Alex Palou for Canadian Racing, with the highest qualifying Leighton House of Rafael Villagomez in 8th position, with his teammate just behind him in 9th spot. Rounding out the top 10, we have the MTV racing car of Ayumu Iwasa, with Juan Pablo Montoya, teammate to pole sitter Antonelli, lining up in 11th position, 10 spots back from him, with the teammate of the man selling second, Ritomo Miata, lining up in 12th position. 13th place goes to Sebastian Vettel in the second of the Muscle Moose cars, with Pato Award for Gokai Twin Blade just behind him. And on the final row of the starting grid for our season A opening round, we have Kevin Estre on the inside, and on the outside it is Scott Dixon for Monster Energy Ford. I hope you're all ready for the very first race. The 5 red lights are on, and as the revs rise, we are racing, and we are underway in Australia as they head towards turn number 1. It is Antonelli, the pole sitter, which will hold on to the lead ahead of Verstappen. Alonso slide through into third position there, just ahead of Mitch Evans, Jack Aitken, Bortoleto, Villagomez racing with Alex Palou there as we head up the hill towards turn number 2. And it's Fernando Alonso on the tail of Max Verstappen here. 3 big name drivers battling it out for the lead here. Verstappen to the inside of Antonelli. He's going to go through for Suzuki X-Star Racing Project. It's Verstappen to the lead, the Dutchman out front. Antonelli drops back into second spot. Alonso on his tail, looking to try and find a way past, not quite able to follow Max Verstappen through there. Alonso still in the mix, the top 3 breaking away just a little bit there. Jack Aitken, Alex Palou's made a pass on his teammate. A strong start for the second of the Canadian racing drivers. Sebastian Vettel also up a couple of spots, 4 spots gained already by Scott Dixon in what is the closest thing to a home Grand Prix for him as well. So exciting stuff, lots of positions gained from some of those drivers further down the field, but it's Max Verstappen crucially that has taken the lead away from Antonelli. Antonelli, as we head on to the back straight for the first time, is actually closer to Alonso than he is to Verstappen here, and could be feeling the pressure from that Monster Energy racing car. And it is going to be Fernando Alonso on the inside, who clearly makes a comfortable pass into the chase. The fastest corner in Australian motorsport. It is Alonso through into second spot, and Andrea Kimi Antonelli, the race leader from pole position, drops back into third spot already here. And Alonso is not looking like he's giving up yet. He's on the tail of Verstappen now as well. He wants to go for the lead of this one. He's pulling to the inside line, Verstappen on the outside as they head up into the mountain section. It's going to be Alonso through on the inside line. Comfortable pass there. Lovely stuff from the Spaniard. And he goes from third on the grid to the lead of this race, and it's only lap 2 already. A bit of a gap dropping back behind them. Palou on his own there in 5th spot. Evans dropping back behind Paul Aron, that was. Then we have Sebastian Vettel on the tail of Scott Dixon. Ayumu Iwasa, Kevin Estre, both outside of the points at the moment. Montoya back in 14th position now as they head down towards the chase. Once again here, Vettel is on the tail of Mitch Evans, trying to get this pass done. Muscle Moose Racing, a customer BMW team, and they're going to use that BMW power to clear up and in to 7th position past the New Zealander. Evans down in to 8th position now. Vettel up into 7th. Very strong start from the German driver, as now Alex Palou in 5th position at the moment has lost touch with the leading group, and that's going to allow Paul Aron to slipstream past him as they head up the hill. And it is the Estonian driver of Paul Aron through into 5th position. Vettel on the back of this battle as well, so I expect him to be getting involved soon as well. Can Paul Aron break away, or is this going to turn into a bit of a back and forth in this battle? Evans, meanwhile, in the second of the Canadian racing cars, is also feeling the pressure at the moment. A strong qualifying for the team, but it seems they're going in the wrong direction at the moment. Mitch Evans started this race up in the top 5, already down in to 9th position. Scott Dixon up in to 8th spot, 8 places gained already. Incredible performance there from the New Zealander, as Vettel to the outside of Palou, going to try and follow through Paul Aron here, and he will get that move done. Palou and his teammate Evans going in the wrong direction early on in this one. And this is not a great sign for the team, which were, on average, the slowest in pre-season testing. Dixon looking to get another spot here. This is an incredible start from the vastly experienced driver there. 6-time IndyCar champion, and he's through into 7th spot, 9 places gained now. His teammates out front, and he is up into 7th. The race pace being put on show here by Monster Energy Ford is immaculate so far. Fascinating to see how much further he can make it up the order here. As another driver who we expect to be quite strong in race pace here, Sebastian Vettel on the tail of Paul Aron. Aron has also caught up to the back of Aitken, but Vettel is going to waste no time all the way around the outside and up into 5th position, 4th and 5th now for the two Muscle Moose entries. Very strong running for them at the moment, but Aitken could be feeling the pressure from his much more experienced teammate just behind him now as they head towards the chase. It is going to be Sebastian Vettel who goes through on the inside and gets the move done. Lovely stuff. Perhaps not too much of a fight put up there by Jack Aitken, knowing that as things stand at the moment, neither of them in those podium positions. They want to get at least one car through up into the top 3 because, of course, crucially, the top 3 will be racing in the GPM1 race tomorrow. So, going to be interesting to see if they can reel in the lead group or if that top trio have just broken clear of the rest of the field at quite an early stage in this race already before the halfway point even. As Kevin Estre moving up into 8th position now for him. He is the lead MTV racing car at the moment. Both of them started in a relatively disappointing position, but both are now running inside the top 10. Crucially, top 10 is where you get points. And whilst it looks like a podium is going to be a stretch at the moment for Kevin Estre, a strong point-scoring start to his season could well be all he can ask for, but a big move there from Palou. Down the inside as Dixon makes a similar pass on Paul Aron there. Crazy racing as they come down through the dipper. It is incredible stuff. Now Dixon through into 6th position here. Paul Aron drops back into 7th. Palou up into 8th position. He does clear back ahead of Kevin Estre, who moves down into 9th position with his teammate in 10th for the moment. So as things stand, MTV Racing locking up the final 2 positions in the top 10 here as Paul Aron is still on the tail of Scott Dixon here. Using that slipstream, could Dixon have made a mistake passing Aron at that part of the racetrack? It's left him vulnerable here, and as they go through the chase, dirt thrown in the air. Dixon on the inside, Aron on the outside. Can he carry the speed around the outside? It's going to be tight on exit. Aron still staying alongside. Dixon has to lift off just a little bit there. That may leave him vulnerable to Alex Palou, but it's Paul Aron back into 6th position here for Leighton-House. Now it is Palou looking to find his way past Scott Dixon, although that attack seems to have been short-lived, because already Kevin Estre is back onto the rear end of Palou, and as they go up into Griffin's Bend, it is going to be Estre on the inside and through there. Nice move from the Frenchman. Plenty of experience in GT racing cars and a little bit of hypercar as well. Now showing that he can do it in single-seaters. Just to top it off, Miata in 11th spot at the moment. His teammate running 2nd. Miata has only gained the 1 spot so far in this race, still sitting just outside of the top 10, so no points as things stand for him, as Scott Dixon has been a man on a mission in this race. And as we approach the final quarter of this season opening round, it is Scott Dixon through into 6th position whilst his teammate leads the way. This is a very impressive showing by the Monster Energy 4 team. They appear to have built a very good car to start things off here. Yuma Iwasa in 9th spot at the moment on the back of his teammate. Now both of these drivers ahead of Alex Palou. Palou really had a good start, but it's gone backwards for him ever since then. But he's getting desperate there. He sends it down the inside of Iwasa, but he hit the back of Estre on exit there. That could be damage for Alex Palou, a man who was certainly familiar with damage so far in this championship. Twice having to pit for repairs in pre-season testing really was a huge issue for the Canadian racing team, and now as he loses the spot to Yuma Iwasa that he just took, you have to wonder if he has picked up a bit of damage to the front end of that Canadian racing car, and if he has, will that drop him outside of the top 10 positions at the moment. The top 10 at the moment have a pretty big gap to the rest of the field, who have all had a bit of a struggle so far in this race, as Estre also with damages coming to the pits. So just as we saw in pre-season testing there, 2 drivers having contact front to rear, both forced to come into the pit lane. Miata though way back at the moment in 11th spot. He has got a big gap to try and reel in if he wants to try and get ahead of either of those two drivers. And as we enter the final lap, they have managed to leave the pits, crucially, comfortably ahead of Ritomo Miata. So it appears that the top 10 will remain as those 10 drivers here. But up at the front of the field, it's Fernando Alonso, who has been in dominant fashion so far in this race. And with just the Conrad Straight, the chase, and then Murray's Corner to go, Alonso is looking set to be the first ever GP Manager race winner here in GPM2. Max Verstappen in second, Antonelli currently running in the third position. He started on pole position, but has fallen back just a little bit now. Still, a podium position for Antonelli would be enough for him to qualify into the GPM1 race, where he would be starting for a very lofty position thanks to his very fast lap time in qualifying. But it's Fernando Alonso, the man who is going to steal the headlines as he heads his way out of the chase for the final time and towards Murray's Corner. This team have put on a show for us here today. In Alonso, it has been dominant. In Dixon, it has been charging. But as he comes around the final corner for the final time, it's going to be Fernando Alonso who wins the season opener in GPM2. And does so in a brilliantly dominant fashion there. Fernando Alonso, clearly our comfortable victor today. Second place is going to go to the Suzuki of Max Verstappen as he rounds the final corner now. The top three have been relatively untroubled since the early stages of this race. Verstappen's finishes where he starts despite briefly leading the race, and Antonelli will be the third and final driver to qualify into the GPM1 race tomorrow. It's Vettel and Aitken who just miss out, but two teammates of Muscle Motor Racing put in a strong performance nonetheless. A crushing victory for Alonso in the end then, 18 seconds clear of Max Verstappen. Behind them, they had Antonelli just another 4 seconds back from Verstappen. 22 seconds off the win after starting on pole position will be a concern for that team. They would have hoped for a lot more, but crucially, they have another chance to go at this racetrack tomorrow. Behind them, the two Muscle Moose racing cars, Vettel ahead of Aitken. Vettel with a very charging drive there. Strong points for that team. Whilst they don't have that GPM1 qualification for this Australian Grand Prix, they do get some good points on the board and put themselves in the mix, certainly, for the promotion spot. Of course, the champion of the season at the very end will be in GPM1 full-time next season. Paul Aron in 6th position for Leighton House Racing, his teammate all the way down in 12th. Not a good race for the Mexican driver, but the Estonian does bring home 8 points to the team. Scott Dixon, in the end, does lose that battle to Paul Aron, 7th spot only, but still 9 places gained for Scott Dixon, so nearly 10. Still a long way behind his teammate, but considering he started dead last in this race, really is a good sign for that team. MTV Racing get double points as well there, with their two drivers coming home in 8th and 9th place. Similar sort of pace for those two, as Alex Palou finishes in 10th spot. After starting in P7, and his teammate Mitch Evans, who started the race in 4th, doesn't even feature in the top 12, so a disappointing season opener for Canadian Racing, but crucially, they do have a point on the board. Miata in 11th just missed out on points, despite the damage late on in the race for Palou and Estra, forcing them into the pits. Villa Gomez in 12th position. Two drivers that you don't see in this top 12 are Pato O'Ward and Gabriel Bortoletto, both of the Gokai Twin Blade Motorsport drivers. Pointless in the season opener, the only team to not have a point on the board yet. So, disappointing start for them, but we understand a fair few drivers towards the back of the field picked up damage in the early stages of the race, and potentially there was more that we didn't quite catch. So, whilst the battle up front was not the closest, it seems as though the battle outside of the top 10 was at some times certainly a bit too close indeed. But that's all from the GPM2 race. I hope you'll join us again tomorrow for GPM1, where it is going to be a front row lockout for West Sussex Racing. I'm intrigued to see how that one goes, so make sure you tune in tomorrow. See you then.